let's kind of get into our first main topic. We're already a good bit in. I think that we would be wrong to not talk about this. We kind of missed the time frame, but I think we have to talk about the George Floyd situation. I think it's the most important thing that's happened in this year, even amidst the thing that we can't talk about. I don't know if you know, Trey.
Trey, we can't.
The C word is not allowed.
Yeah, the disease, the virus that cannot be named. I saw a guy the other day. He runs a chess podcast, and he said the C word.
Chess,
like move a pawn.
Yeah.
And he was just talking
Just
about
said
a lot of
something
people.
about
A lot of people are playing chess now because they're at home because of the
word. Yeah,
the C
that's
word.
I
But he
love
said
chess.
the C word, and
Yeah.
his whole podcast got taken down by YouTube.
Wow.
So
So
anyways,
we're not going to talk about that, but
the virus that cannot be named.
yes, you know who.
You know.
But so I think it's important to talk about, and that's gonna lead us into our other topics that we're talking about today. But there's really no need to think critically on if all you gotta do is watch the video and the feeling in your stomach that grows
About George Floyd.
tells you, I think, all you need to know. There's no thinking necessary.
That shit's sickening.
It's very sad, and I actually just want to hear from Trey. Like, as a black man, and I mean, you're in the South. I know he was from Texas, I believe, but was up north where it's supposed to be better. What was like the first thing you like that came to your mind whenever you saw it?
Excuse me. Unfortunately, I wasn't surprised, which that kind of, I don't even know how to really describe it to you guys, but it's like all the wind out of your sails is just gone. You know, it's like I wasn't surprised. I've kind of seen it. I've been around it, not to that degree, but I've been around and witnessed and dealt with police myself in a negative manner. But it was really just heartbreaking, because I felt for his kids and his wife and his family, and then it also spoke to the culture. I know personally, if I was standing there, I'm sorry, I'm not recording that shit. I'm just gonna go to jail. I'm gonna go give that man a knee. You know what I'm saying, or something,
Right.
because this man is literally, you see his breath leave his body. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's like he's in handcuffs. I mean, it's something's got to give, man. Something's got to change. There's no reason that anybody in handcuffs should die like that.
Yeah.
In the street where people are watching. I'm glad somebody was there that did record the incident, and
Right.
we have visual. But at the same time, if me and my girl are standing there, here, babe, if I really want to record that bad, you hold the phone and let me go fucking try to save this man's life. I'm not gonna sit there and watch you just die like that. It's just,
Yeah.
it's upsetting, man.
But that's the thing, though, man. I think that says a lot right there. Is like, even as you watch a police officer kill a dude, everyone is still scared to do anything because that will ruin your life.
Yeah.
You'll either die too, you get taken to jail.
Yeah.
Like for
Assaulting an officer.
That's a felony. Like
Yeah.
you're going away for a long ass time. They'll
Yeah.
probably hit you with some other shit.
Yeah. It's a terrible situation, and there's also, I wish I could think of the name of it, but there's a psychological, sociological effect that when a crisis is happening and there's a group of people, there's something where like no one goes in to pull the person out of the burning car because you're waiting on somebody else to do it.
Social diffusion. I think
I could be it. I don't remember. It's been a while since I took that class. But
I think it's like the social diffusion of responsibility.
yeah. That's.
Where
I mean,
you feel like someone else is going to do.
yeah.
something,
You just
but
know
they feel the same way.
Yeah, and they feel the same way, and then basically
Right.
the puppy burns in the car, whatever. The or in this case, another black man dies at the hands of the police. And it just. It seems like it would be easy, and Trey, no, I know you, so I actually 100% believe that you
What happened?
you'd have been all over them, but for a lot of people, I can catch myself like running around circles in my head in situations like that. And so I can't say, I know that I would want to, and think about it in hindsight, absolutely, drop kick to the throat or something like that. But I can't say for sure that I would, but I know everybody wants to.
I almost just feel like it's also just so foreign to be able to like watch that happen. At least for me. Like even when I was watching the video, I was just like, I mean, obviously I probably shouldn't be surprised either, but just watching a dude just sit on another guy's neck.
Yeah.
While he's handcuffed already,
It was very
three
bizarre
other cops
too.
there.
Like
I'm just like,
he was
how?
looking at cameras, like he knew he was getting filmed.
Oh, dude, his stare creeped me the hell out.
It was so weird.
Dead.
Like the conspiracy bug was tingling in my head that day too. Like
He's a robot.
I don't know. It was just it's just a
worst
weird
kind of Terminator?
It's just a weird situation. But yeah, I think that the big point that this highlighted was the need. I mean, so if we're talking about Black Lives Matter and we're talking about police reform, I think that's the big, most important thing that needs to happen. In my opinion, if I'm gonna be just honest, and I'll put this out there, and y'all can attack it the way y'all want, I think that the abolishment of police is silly. I think it's. I don't see how that's gonna help any. Because I mean, and Trey and I have had this conversation a little bit before. Like, yeah, I mean, there are clearly plenty of bad police officers, but most are good. And to get rid of all of them, I feel like would endanger just as many black people as the police would, and then however many more, just by letting people go and do whatever they want, basically.
Right.
So what do y'all think about like we'll get on to other types of reform, but like what do y'all think about just getting rid of them completely?
You want to go, Trey?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think that that's a solution at all. I think that the police department has formed its own identity, and that's part of the bigger problem. Once you put that badge on, it's just like if you have a gun. You feel automatically safer and a little bit more entitled, maybe. If you're that type of person, whatever. But with that, they know that they've got a brotherhood. They know that they've got people that they can just hit up at any time, and they've got their gun, and they have a certain level of authority, supposedly. And so I think that's the bigger issue. But I don't think that getting rid of them altogether is any kind of solution that makes any sense. I don't even think it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't see it as possible. But
yeah, I don't see that happening.
So I know we've talked about this before. I don't think, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who just want to get rid of everything, get rid of all the police.
Yeah.
But personally, when I've heard the term like defund the police, and I know we touched on this before, it was reduce the amount of police officers who would actually deal with like a dangerous situation, like people who should be
I love that
armed.
idea. That's where I was hoping we would move to next. I love that idea. Go
And
ahead and lay that out.
We would put more money into, because as of right now, and there was the Baltimore chief police had a fantastic video where he was talking about his officers, and he was like, y'all don't realize that we get called for everything. We have to deal with, domestic violence. We have to deal with robberies. Mm-hmm. We have to deal with mentally ill people. Like, we get called for every single thing. And,
all unique.
Yeah.
all unique
and
situations.
He's like, we can't, like, we're not, there needs to be people trained more specifically for each of those things. Like, you'll have people on the highway and the road to do traffic violations. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Brittany, but doesn't Florida, do y'all have like a designated only traffic people? Because Greg told me he got pulled over in Florida by like a normal cop, and the cop made him wait on the side of the road until like an actual state trooper came by, because that was more like his thing. I mean, I could just be wrong.
Well,
maybe that cop just didn't want to deal with.
Now, state trooper versus cop. So a police officer for the county or the city have certain jurisdictions.
Okay.
Whereas a state trooper has their certain jurisdictions. Okay. So that could have been what that was.
That probably was it.
Yeah.
Well, you're not completely wrong though, because I know when I first went down to Florida, I was driving without my headlights on, whatever, got pulled over. But one of the officers told me I got pulled over initially by the drug task force, and then once they realized I didn't have any drugs, I wasn't messed up.
Right.
Then the other task force came in and they told me that when they're dealing with this, the other task force is not supposed to be on the scene. So they have something similar to that. I'm
No,
probably
okay.
not factually, but I know that there is a thing.
Okay, I think I just got it mixed up. I think it was you telling us that story. It wasn't anything to do with Greg. So I think that's what I was talking about, and I think that's like a dope thing. You know, have people who deal with like drug busts. Obviously, those are the people you want like armed and trained for that type of, basically like a SWAT team, I guess.
Right.
And and how you would have more social, you know, try to defund the police and take some of that money and put it towards social workers who would, you know how to deal with mentally ill people who may not. I mean, obviously they might be dangerous, but instead of just shooting them or tasing them or whatever, you know,
they would see the symptoms coming quicker. They would either be able to de-escalate better or be prepared to like, subdue beforehand. But then that's another thing. I think his name's Jocko Willink. He's a former. He's either a SEAL or a Marine. I can't remember. I've seen him on Joe Rogan a number of times, and he actually had a great video about the protesters and police officers. If anybody goes, I don't remember the name of it, but you look him up and you'll see. It's just like a little, 5-minute, like just his face just talking. It's just really powerful actually. But he talks about that, like how infrequently they train. So like they train and like especially hand to hand, they train so little. And so like we think about
hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, hand-to-hand combat. Yeah, so being able to subdue somebody without shooting them.
Right, or tasing.
Or tasing or whatever. And I mean, that you won't always be able to do it. If you're by yourself and even if there's only one, you might get the better of him, you might not. But definitely if there's a group of you, you can stop somebody probably a little more effectively than just putting them down with a gun or a taser or something. So, I think that's great. Go ahead, Trey.
My bad. I didn't mean that. No. I think it's important too to realize, the military, for instance, and I have some buddies that are Marines and other military branches. Say they're over in a foreign country and somebody's sniping at them from a mosque. Well, that's a place of worship. They can't fire back. Even if they're getting shot at, even if one of their buddies gets killed, they, by the rules of, what's it called? The
Geneva
rules
Convention
of engagement or something like
that.
But they can't, you know what I mean? And so I think understanding that like the gun is not the first action. And like you said, Jordan, I think that's like such a like elementary concept, but it's such a great idea. Like, but you would think, at least we would think like, or I'd think that it would be like, that just makes sense. Okay.
Right.
You're trained to deal with somebody who has schizophrenia and this, that, and the other. You go in and you handle that. There's no reason for me that didn't graduate high school and, barely has his GED, whatever, and I'm going out here and I'm angry already. My wife, you don't know what's going on.
Right.
But they're not, it's messed up. And to me, it just seems like a simple thing. Like, okay, let's get some trained, psychiatrist or psychologist out here. And if we need to bring somebody with a gun with them, fine. But they're going to know, just like you said, how to de-escalate that situation. I'll give you a real brief example. My grandmother has taken in foster kids or pretty much my whole life. And she had what they call a level 5, or 5 or 10, I forget, but it's the worst case foster child. And this girl she was about 250 pounds, so she's a big girl. And she had schizophrenia, some other, like 3 or 4 other things. And she took like 30, 40 pills a day.
Jesus, cocktail.
But she would be completely fine. And then she would fly off the handle. And I've never seen anything like it. I mean, she literally tried to fight a 4-year-old at Thanksgiving because she wasn't getting that attention. And my whole family, I mean, my aunts and my cousins, they're ready to whoop her ass because she's about to put hands. She's 200 something pounds, about to put hands on a 4-year-old.
Right.
And so they were about to just jump her. And my granny, who's trained and knows how to deal with those situations, was able to get in and get them, handle that situation. Whereas we were just about to beat her ass. Like even the men were ready to handle her. So, I mean, I think it's understanding those kind of things. We definitely, I mean, I don't think you could have put it any better. Like that's what we need for the police department. We need to separate these things.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the best ideas, and I mean, it's that critical thinking. I've never thought about it before. I've never decided, well, what would make it better. But I think that's what, I mean, unfortunately, people had to die because of it, and I mean, and I think it's important. So if I'm gonna try to play devil's advocate and try to put my foot on the other side of the line as much as possible, and say that
Keep funding the police.
Why? Well, no, not just. I mean, yeah. I mean, you get what you pay for. I hate to say it like that, but you get what you pay for. And I think when it comes down to it, it's how you fund the police, not how much they're getting or whatever, but it's how you do it and how you use it. And that goes for every community, for that matter, even aside from just the police force. I mean, it's how the funds are allocated that really becomes the effect. But if I'm on the other side, I'm saying I want police. My buddy's a policeman, and he's a great guy. And he wants to go home to his family, and so I think he should have that gun and everything like that. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. He needs to get home too. He needs to get home too. And an argument I've heard is that, and I'll let y'all attack me, is that because the murder rate is so high in black communities, that's why they're more skittish around black people. Go.
It is hard for me to say. I mean, it's a great point. Like if I was a cop, like that's tough.
Yeah.
If I had I get nervous just walking up to people's cars normally. Like I was actually hanging out with Scott and his dad a couple weeks ago, more than a couple weeks ago now. And like Scott was trying to get some air in his tires, and this dude was just sitting in the parking spot where you'd get air. Mm-hmm. And Bob, just like Scott's dad, just walks over there, like knocks on the dude's window, just asks him nicely, like, "Hey, can you move while we put?" But like for me, like I felt nervous for him.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
Like, and so like if I was a cop and I had to do that often, that would freak me out. Right. And so like how do you combat? How do you arm a cop? But also have less people being murdered. I mean, that's
the predicament,
right? Of course, that would be the best of both worlds. Is if a cop can be armed with his gun, be able to protect himself, but also not murder people for selling cigarettes on the sidewalk or using a fake $20 bill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Trey.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely. Oh, I mean, excuse me. My cousin is a police officer in Memphis, Travorce. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
From DC. He's a cop in Memphis, and we talked not long ago, shortly after the George Floyd thing. Maybe it was before, but I think it was after. Anyways, we talked, and I definitely, especially being in Memphis, where the crime rate is a lot higher than a lot of places. I can understand having a certain level of, I guess, heightened fear or, just preparedness. But I think it's important too that, and this is what he told me, the biggest thing is I treat people like people. I treat everybody until there's a reason that I don't. And also, he's very aware that he took this job, which is a dangerous job. He chose to be in this line of work. And so being in that line of comes with a certain level of responsibility and duty to the citizens who you're serving. And so, and I try to put myself in a situation which is almost impossible not being in that situation, but just thinking about, if I were to, walk up on somebody and they know that they're about to go to jail, they know that they fucked up. Maybe I'm going to be cool. Maybe I'm going to get them a break, but they don't even give me that opportunity. And, say they pull a gun out and start shooting something like that. Then of course I'm going to have to handle that situation with whatever force. But I think, for instance, the Aubrey case that happened in Atlanta, Ahmaud Aubrey, I think, I mean, there's no reason you can sit there and talk to somebody for 45 minutes who was
wait. No, you're talking about Rashard Brooks, right? Arbery was he was in like southern Georgia or something like that, right?
That was the guy jogging.
Yeah,
right?
That was the jogger. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I apologize.
No.
Rashad Brooks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to sit there and talk to somebody for 45 minutes and somehow ends up in him getting shot, I think it's just a way bigger problem. And we can break down all the logistics of it or whatever, but I mean, it's just as simple as this guy's sitting in his car drunk, passed out. I've done that. I've done that. I've literally, when I lived with Josh and Chat, fell asleep in the Taco Bell drive-through, and thankfully, somebody came and knocked on my door, didn't call the police on me, and I went on my way. But like, I've been there. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And think I really think it is important that the officers do what my cousin does and treat them like people and realize that these are humans. They're gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like you fuck. We're gonna make mistakes, but I think death is the last resort, and anything you can do to prevent that. And again, going back to the treat them like humans, like that should be what you want. You should not. You should want to save this person's life. If I encounter somebody as an officer and they're being extra, and I know this could lead to something negative, I'm gonna want to do anything and everything in my power to help this person because that's my job. My job is to help you.
Right.
It's not to kill you. So yeah, I mean, I know it's final thought on that. I know it's tough, and I can't imagine some of the situations that they put themselves in or that they're in, but there's cops that do it the right way, and there's a lot of them. It's been proven, and it shouldn't be that difficult across the board, in my opinion.
Right. I agree. From a mental standpoint, like you said, I can't imagine. I mean, I can pretend to imagine what that feels like, what the situation feels like when you're in it. But I know for sure that what I think and what I feel doesn't come anywhere close. So I mean, you don't want to give justification for any of them. I think you and I kind of talked about that Rashard Brooks one, Trey, where it's like, I forget the word you said. It was horrible but legal or something like that, or something to that effect. And that's a great way of looking at that one. I think there were ways, especially as long as they were talking to him. Whatever happened, and I know that this probably getting back to that thing where like police are, they're trying to do too many things, but like they used to drive drunk people home.
Yeah,
they don't. They you either get I guess shot to death, or you go to jail.
Right.
And that was going to be his. I actually looked into that a little bit. That was going to be his third offense. He was about to go in probably for the majority of his life, and that's why at the end he basically slams the dude and runs off and everything, because he knew like
this was it.
They're not letting me go. I think after all that time they realized like they're not letting me go. I'm gonna do whatever I can. I bet he was thinking he's either gonna get away or he's gonna go to jail, but instead he made the one fatal flaw whilst being intoxicated, obviously, of grabbing the taser, and unfortunately that was the biggest mistake that he made, I guess, aside from being drunk in the parking lot in the first place. But yeah, it's just crazy. And so I actually got one more question for Trey. I don't think we've talked about this yet. What do you think about what Terry Crews said about the Black Lives Matter movement?
You'll have to refresh me on that. I'm not.
He said
sure.
He said something like, we need to make sure that Black Lives Matter don't become Black Lives Better. Meaning going from white supremacy and trying to gain equality for black people to go into black supremacy, and then the need for equality for non-black people, I guess.
Shit. I think that was I think that was a very. Somebody told him to say that. I'll just put it like that. Somebody put that in his ear.
A publicist or something.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, for one, black people are some of the most giving and caring people that in the world. As a race, I know that. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. Yeah, we have our problems, whatnot. Who doesn't? But we, that's not the type of people we are. And I don't think that that's even a possibility. And we're not asking, I think that just kind of just throws a little bit of shade on the Black Lives Matter movement, and we can get deeper into that if you guys want. But the real movement, the people that I know that are actually, in the community being active, doing those types of things, ain't nobody sitting here that's not even a thought in anybody's head. So for him to put that out there, I feel like that was a little bit irresponsible, because all we're asking for is to be treated equally, to have equal and fair opportunity, the same opportunity that everyone else has, and to be treated like human beings. So I definitely, I don't agree with that statement. I think it, again, is very irresponsible. And Terry Crews has been known to make statements that are kind of controversial anyways, but yeah, that's kind of my take on that.
Did he like single out like a Black Lives Matter like reform or something that they wanted that he didn't like, or was it just a very general statement?
I think it was a tweet. I think it was a tweet, and I don't. From what I remember, it wasn't anything specific. Like he wasn't targeting someone or a particular thing. I think, I can't say I know his intentions on that one. I won't even try to speculate.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I would have to look back at his history. Personally, I like Terry Crews.
Yeah, I do
think
too.
he's hilarious. I don't know much about his political past. Or
hey, Jamie, could you try to find what he says, Terry Crews?
You were pretty much.
Is that it?
Yeah, I definitely, as an entertainer. Go ahead.
Wait 1 second, Trey.
Black Lives Matter doesn't morph into hashtag Black Lives Better.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, to me that it's.
He also said, "I have a family of every race, creed, and ideology."
See, and that sounds good. I think, like Trey said, I mean, it's kind of the same effect that the All Lives Matter is like it kind of puts a veil on the Black Lives Matter movement, and he probably said it with good intentions. I don't, like I said, I can't actually guarantee what he said, but trying to be
right,
not divisive. What's
Sure.
up? What's up, Jamie?
No, like before he said, "I have a family of every race." He said, "If you are a child of God, you are my brother and sister," and then went on to say that.
Yeah.
And apparently, never mind. That's irrelevant. So.
Okay. But
well,
Yeah, I can tell you, nobody that I know is out here trying to be a black supremacist. I can promise you that.
the black Israelites are. Anybody seen Hate Thy Neighbor?
mm-mm.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Is it a movie?
And no, it's a show. It's a British half black, half white comedian,
Uh-huh.
and he's hilarious for one. Jamali, I'm thinking Woods, but that's Jamila Woods. but Jamali something, and he goes and talks to all these different supremacy groups.
Yeah.
He like with the KKK, neo-Nazis, the Black Israelites and stuff like that. But one of the Black Israelites said, "I am a supreme black supremacist."
Nice. Oh yeah. Didn't Nick
there's
Cannon got in
a
trouble,
restraint.
That's what I was gonna bring up next.
Yeah.
What was that, Trey?
Oh man, I was nothing. Go ahead to the Nick Cannon thing.
So what
Yeah.
do you
I'm
think
ready-
about the Nick
I'm ready
Cannon
for that
thing?
one.
I don't know specifically what he said, but it sounded like very like black supremacist, wasn't it? Like it's people like with melatonin in their skin. Who
Melatonin?
Are like, is that
Sleepy ass people.
everyone's
It's
tired
just
as
so
hell,
sleepy.
dude?
They're just
Hey.
so damn
Melanin,
Melton?
brother.
Melanin?
Melanin.
melatonin.
I got some melatonin in my skin.
I got some melatonin.
My bad.
Sleepy. We sleepy out
I'm
here.
tired as hell. I'm just injected with
Always,
the bro.
always tired.
Always tired.
Always tired.
Um,
That's
so
fantastic.
he
I
was called-
actually. Go ahead.
So he was saying like people without melanin
Yep.
are like true savages.
True
Is
savages.
that what it was?
Because they're not even made to live on this earth and stuff like that.
Was he going against like all white people? Wasn't he like targeting Jews more?
He said something else about the Jews.
Oh, he had two?
Yeah.
Oh.
What he actually got fired for was saying that Jews basically run the world and run the banks. And
he hit that.
Yeah, and
Nice.
and that makes Jews nervous of another Holocaust.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, basically he was saying that he had a good opportunity to say that black people get called savages, but white people they're the colonial, they're the people going and like taking over people's lands and stuff like that. That's way more savage. But he had to bring in the fact that it was because they were white that they were more savage than black people, and he just
missed the mark on that one.
If he would have just said a few less things, he probably
Right.
would have been okay. But
Right.
but the Jewish thing, like you just can't say you just can't say that. And I don't think he meant it to be offensive necessarily. But I mean, what's is it Deshaun Jackson? Yeah, I think it was Deshaun Jackson. Basically said the same thing. Something from, I can't actually remember if it was
He quoted Hitler.
What was it? An actual Hitler quote, or was it something that was made up to be a Hitler quote?
I've seen that quote before he did that. I've seen that. So as far as I know, it's factual. Because I'd actually seen it well before then.
Yeah.
But yeah, he quoted Hitler, and basically, and to go back to Nick Cannon as well. I actually watched that interview because I watched Cannon's class. That's what it was on, and he was
who was the guy that was there with him? It was the guy from Public Enemy that got kicked out. What's his name?
Professor Griff.
Griff.
And I like Professor Griff's stuff a lot. If you ever get a chance to check his stuff out, but basically what he was saying was that blacks were the original Jews, which, I mean, historically and scientifically, I mean, there weren't white people in that part of the world,
Right.
at that time. There just weren't. And so he was basically saying we were the original Jews, just the same that Deshaun Watson was basically quoting from Hitler.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest issue of it. And I believe he actually got fired for not apologizing, which now he's come back and apologized, which I don't honestly think now I'd have to go back and watch the video because, again, I watched it well before that was even a thing. That video had been out for several months.
Oh, it was
now
Deshaun Watson or Jackson?
No,
Deshaun Jackson.
Nick Cannon.
But we're talking about Nick Cannon on his podcast. Deshaun Jackson, his was just like a tweet or a post on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, but I would really like. I think. I mean, for one, that the whole interview is a great interview. I wish it was still up. It's probably somewhere if you ever get a chance to watch it. But I don't like that there was that he didn't apologize, then gets fired, and then comes back and apologizes.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just like you're throwing out too many signals right there.
Right.
If that's how you feel, stand on that ground.
Stand on it. Go somewhere else. Yeah. Go somewhere else and do it there.
Yep. But don't lose everything that you've worked for, standing on a principle that you're really not willing to stand on at the end of the day when the pressure comes down.
Right.
So now I'm trying to think of like an opposite stance to take. Yeah, like, I mean, I guess he has the opposite to what I feel, and I think, like I said, he's wrong. Obviously, like, white people aren't just like more savage because they're white. I mean, they've done a lot of savage things. I mean, I guess every race has done really savage things, but they did it on a global scale because they just happened to hit the technological boom at the right time. That's really what it came down to. They just hit the.
It wasn't even the right time. It was just the first time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, so I think, he's, in my opinion, at least, he's wrong in that attack, but I understand it. Now, something that you said, Trey, about the Black Israelites. So, if it were me, if we're talking about people in the Arab community, they tend to be brown. So now it was well known that the disciples dispersed from Judea. Some went north, They became the white Ashkenazi Jews in Germany, Ukraine, stuff like that. Some went south to like Ethiopia. And there's like a giant community of black Ethiopian Jews. And so I would argue that Jews are brown, whereas as they migrated, they became black, became white, became whatever. So that would be my only like critique of Griff's point of view, at least as far as that goes. But of course, it's neither here nor there.
So his point was that Jews were originally black,
right? Oh. Right. And so they're basically alluding to that black people, specifically the groups, not necessarily, but the groups brought to America especially, are the true chosen people of God.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Am I right?
Well,
am I right there, Trey?
Yeah, pretty much. I do want to touch on one thing that you said, because I think it's been definitely taken out of context, especially considering I actually have watched that video fully. But when they were talking about Egypt and the melanated people that were there in Egypt, and how the Caucasian people came to Egypt and learned from them, got their information.
The Greeks,
and then went off, and he referenced how white people were at one point cavemen, and that's I think where the savage came in.
That's how it moved to it, right?
It kind of moved to that, so it wasn't like, hey, you're white, you're savages. Like it wasn't like that. So I just wanted to clear that up. So like that's kind of where that conversation was at when that statement was made, and I think
sorry.
I think it's just been kind of twisted. No, you're good.
Yeah, I think that's a funny argument too. About I've actually we had a friend that called one of our other friends a Neanderthal, and he was like, "A what?" It was just like perfect too. But I love some people will argue that white people are more savage or whatever because they've got Neanderthal DNA. But if you look into the history, Homo sapiens killed and ate all the Neanderthals.
So everyone's just savage as fuck.
So if anybody's like, we are way more savage than any Neanderthal.
We just eat everybody.
Or at least we're better at it, I guess. We're not necessarily more, but we're just better at it.
Better savages. We literally ate you.
We literally killed and ate you.
Did we really eat them?
Absolutely.
I've heard kill for sure.
Yeah,
we ate?
I believe so, yes.
I'll try.
I'll try a little Neanderthal tartare.
Yeah, sure, some tartare, that long pork.